Hello and welcome into another New York Jets pregame show. I am Matt O'Leary alongside my guy Connor Long of Jets X Factor. Connor, how's it going today, my friend?
Matt, doing well. We've made it here, week 7 of the Jets season, and it feels like, quite frankly, if the Jets lose tonight, the season might be over. So must win, and happy to be here. Let's talk all things Jets versus Steelers.
Now, I know you're in the same boat as me, so I'm going to say it at the top. I am nervous today. Jets and Mets both at the same time.
Yes.
Mets eliminate another elimination game. Jets, their season's on the line. You can't go to 2-5. My palms we're like 2 hours from kickoff and the first pitch, and my palms are very sweaty. I am nervous right now.
Yeah, and Matt, it's unlike last pregame show we had here against the Bills, where the game was happening during our pregame show. We had it on a second screen, and was to the point the game basically was all signed, sealed, and delivered by the time the Jets won on. Of course, that was a victory for the Mets, but it hurts even more that the Jets season, not the Jets, the Mets season is on the line as well, trailing 3-2. Now they're back in LA to take on the Dodgers. The Mets season now relies on the arm of Sean Manaea. I do think they get the job done, force a game 7, but it's not going to be fun for us, Matt.
No, it's gonna be a stressful night, but let's get to our New York Jets in this one. Big move of the week. We haven't spoke on the air since the New York Jets traded for Davante Adams.
Mm-hmm.
First, let's hear obviously your thoughts on the trade, what they gave up, the whole thing, and how you think he impacts the game tonight.
Yeah, Matt, I will say this regarding the Davante Adams trade. I think it was a move that was anticipated, but it's sad to see that it comes after a loss to Buffalo, because at this point now it kind of feels like it's a desperation move, so to speak. Of course, I'm sure we'll get into it, but Hassan Reddick, he's adjusted his contract. He will report to the New York Jets facility tomorrow as well. In terms of the impact he will make on the team's offense, I think the target share is going to be it's going to be hard to come by now with targets. We saw Garrett Wilson get 22 targets in Week 5 against the Vikings. I don't think a wide receiver on this team is ever going to have a single game like that, but I think he will contribute in a very positive manner in like the Jets' red zone struggles. I think that's something that he's going to bring to the table. He's one of the most touchdowns in the league among active players. So I do think he'll contribute in the red zone. He has the chemistry with Rodgers, and chemistry is something Rodgers has struggled to build with his receivers thus far. But I'll tell you this, Matt, I expect a touchdown out of him tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's totally fair. The Rodgers and Davante Adams connection's been well documented. I know usually it's rare to see someone come in like midweek and then have a big performance in their first game, but for Davante, he already has that connection with Rodgers, so it's not like they need a few weeks to get up to speed there. We saw it, and I get it's only a practice clip, and no one's rushing the quarterback, but still, you had that unbelievable, catch and throw to Davante for a touchdown over, I think it was Jarek Bernard Converse. But anyway, moral of the story, it's going to be exciting to finally watch Davante. We all knew this was coming for a long time. They tried to trade for him a year ago, and now they finally land Davante Adams. And I think it makes life easier for them on offense to have, I know he's not in his prime anymore, but still an elite level route runner. And I think he has an immediate impact today.
Absolutely, and I know we weren't talking about this, but in reply to the talks about Mike Williams being traded and you kind of a corresponding move to this deal, I don't know about you, Matt, but I'm not a big fan of these rumors. I think Mike Williams, he's one injury away from being that next man up in that rotation and having a significant role in the team's offense. And at this point, 1-year deal, $10 million, just get through the rest of the season. He'll most likely not be a New York Jet next year, but we probably wouldn't get much in exchange for him if you really think about it. We're looking right now probably at a day 3 pick, maybe a conditional 5th, something like that. I can't imagine the Jets getting much more than that. So I say you just play out the season with him. And one injury happens, and he could be the next man up in this wide receiver room. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, in a perfect world, I wouldn't want to move on from him just because, like you said, if they do, let's say they decide to trade Mike Williams and you get a late round day 3 pick, whatever it is, and then 3 weeks from now there's an injury to one of your top 3 guys. Well, now you're looking at Xavier Gibson in the starting trio. So I don't think that's ideal. Obviously, we'll see. It sounds like the Steelers are really interested in trading for Mike Williams. That would be a team to watch. I think if you ask me, I think it's more likely that he gets traded, that he stays. Not saying that's what I'm advocating for, but it kind of just feels like that's where this is headed.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And I was watching Jake Asman earlier. I called into his show earlier today. He mentioned the notes but from Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter noting that they're basically pretty much worked out a deal with Pittsburgh. Jake thinks, and I'm kind of on the same board with him there, that for example, the Jets wouldn't trade Mike Williams to the Steelers the day before or the day they played the Steelers. Maybe this is something they let him play today. I will say though, if he were to get traded, why wouldn't they just inactivate him? He will be active, but
Good
I
point.
I agree with you. I don't think he'll be a New York Jet for much longer.
I'm with you there. We got some callers on the line. Let's go out to our first caller of the day. Hep is calling in. Hep, what's going on?
Yep.
How are you?
Hey Connor, how you doing, Matt? Everything okay?
Yeah, doing
All
well.
good over here.
Great,
What's your
great.
vibe for the game tonight?
All right, I'm thinking maybe we have to start fast again. I mean, we can't. This is
Mhm.
4 years of starting slow. This is ridiculous. Now, I think what we should do is pass early, open up the run lanes, and then that'll they won't be able to tee off on us as much. As a top, as opposed to the three and out. Two running plays and then our passing play routine. So I'm thinking if we pass, and also the deep crossing routes is what I'm concerned about. And on defense, I think maybe we're going to have to do some run blitzing up the middle. What do you think?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
totally agree on the run blitzing because it feels like that's been such an issue for this defense all year. They really got gashed against the Bills in the first half. Played a little better in the second half there, but you would think, it's Russell Wilson's first start of the season. The Steelers offense hasn't really been all that prolific through the air. So I think, I would totally expect them to run the ball a lot in this game. And I think it's going to be on the Jets to show that they're able to adjust at that point, which is a tough task.
I will say this in regards to the run defense. Yes, they haven't looked great all season. I think that's I think that's pretty clear. And then, kind of in regards to the Steelers running back room in Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, those names don't garner, that much attention. But Mike Tomlin, he's one of the best coaches, one of, if not the best coach in football right now. And the way, what makes their offense so special, Arthur Smith does a great job of it, of utilizing both Najee Harris and Jalen Warren in such an effective manner that it catches the defense by surprise. And I think, the Jets defense, if the Jets want to win tonight, I think the Jets defense has to force some turnovers and stop the run. If they don't get ahead early, get a lead early, I think this game has the potential to get real ugly.
Yeah, I think you're correct, and I agree with you guys. I don't want to trade. I don't want to trade Williams for a used
Yep.
Band-Aid. I mean,
Right.
that's ridiculous, And the only trade I would do, and I love G Dub. He's one of my favorite players,
Mhm.
personality and everything. I would trade him for Crosby, but that's about it. I don't think they would go
Garrett
for that.
Wilson?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think the Raiders
Yeah.
would do that, but that's a tough one. You're
I don't think the
losing a
Jets would
young
want to do
player.
that either. Because
I
then
don't
you,
know.
you you get Reddick back now, and then you have Reddick and McDonald. I like the idea though. I like the thinking outside the box.
Yeah, that's me all the way. Love you
Love
guys.
it.
See you later.
Have a good one.
Appreciate it.
Love that. Good stuff to start out the show
Absolutely.
there. We could just keep it going right down the line. We got a
Let's do it.
few on here. So let's go out to our guy, Snowball. What's going on,
There he
Snowball?
is. Snowball.
A literal smack in the face with a terrible towel. It's disrespectful that they think that Russell Wilson can come in and beat the Jets.
What are they doing? I don't understand why they're making the switch now. I don't think
Yeah.
Fields has looked great in their 4 wins, but have they watched the Jets rush defense? Wouldn't you want your running quarterback out there?
I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what are they putting the punch on the sidelines? I have no idea. But it's again disrespectful that they think Russell Wilson can do it. I just pray that this is not a rehash of the Cleveland game when Baker Mayfield came in and destroyed us. I do not want Russell Wilson to get torn out of this game and then Justin Fields to come in and slash us to death. So I am praying for a Jets win. I'm praying for a Mets win, and we'll see what happens. Jets and Mets. This is my prediction. This is going to be Green Bay, New York. The collaboration between Aaron Rodgers, Alan Lazard, and Devontae Adams tonight gets us a win.
I'll
Love
take it. I don't care. After a 3-game losing streak, I don't care if they win this game 3-0. I just want to win on the board at this point. They could win ugly. It feels like every single game the Steelers play is an ugly one. There's not going to be a lot of scoring in this one, I don't think, at least anyway. But just find a way, man. And I do agree. I think Devontae plays a big role immediately, and Alan Lazard's already shown off that connection so far with Rodgers this year, so it wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah,
I think this leading touchdown receiver.
Yep.
Crazy. It's so crazy.
I think, like I said earlier, Snowball, I think this Adams move is going to really, help the Jets' red zone production, just because the Jets, something they've struggled to do all year is finish in the red zone. We saw perfect example is the first drive of last game against the Bills. Oh my God, Todd Downing's the best play caller in the world. Jets have 4 first downs marching down the field, and then they just stalled out for a field goal in the red zone. So I think Davante Adams will kind of be that bridge red zone target for Aaron Rodgers, which will significantly boost the offensive performance.
Could you guys just remind me who's calling red zone plays for us?
The Gold Zone, Nathaniel Hackett.
Nathaniel Hackett. All right.
I saw that Snowball. I saw a funny tweet during I think it was from NY Jets fans only. The guy, the great Dylan on Twitter and Instagram. He put out a tweet. I think it said they showed Hackett on the broadcast up in the booth, and I think he said they gave Hackett a headset and muted the mic. So that gave me a good laugh.
Well, you can mute me now. I'm out. Hopefully we get a W tonight.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Snowball. Good stuff. Enjoy the game, my friend.
Take care.
Love it. Love it. We can keep this train rolling. Go out to Gary from Ohio is up next. Gary, what's going on, man? How are you?
What's going on, guys? Excited to talk to you. I'm headed to the game. I'll be there at 7:31. GPS is telling me. And excited because Hassan Reddick's going to be signing with us. And, they definitely have to get a W today. I think the team's going to be pumped up having Devontae and knowing that Reddick's coming in. They got to get a win. I think the offensive line, that's what I'm worried about, the offensive line stopping the run or helping with the run. And then on the other side of the ball, I'm worried about Najee Harris running the ball all over us. I love Devontae on one side, Garrett Wilson on the other side. And I think there's going to be a lot of grease going today. So I'm pumped up. I only have one Jets jersey, and unfortunately it has Darnold on it, and I couldn't get myself to wear it. So I just got my Jets T-shirt on, but that's all right. That's all right. So how you guys doing? And then I got a parlay with the Mets and Jets tonight on the money line.
I love it. Rocking with the New York sports. Yankees got the win last night. They're going to the World Series. Let's hope our Mets extend it tonight. That's my hope.
But so I'm looking. I don't know where anyone else is sitting or if there's any groups going out there. But I'll be over in section 507. It's on the visitors' side. I've never been there for a football. I've never been there actually ever. But it would be great to see some footballs out there.
Love it. Yeah, hopefully you run into some Jet fans out there. I know that there's definitely going to be a group of Jet fans there. I think Gotham City will be there. So if you can find your way over to them, don't worry, you'll be able to get some Jet fans over. But yeah, hope you enjoy the game out there tonight, and hope they give you a win on Sunday Night Football.
I will. Yeah.
Final score prediction for tonight.
Final score tonight is going to be 27-10.
Wow.
Ooh, okay. I will take that.
I feel like we're going to have a nice burst today. I think it's going to be a big day. I think they're going to be all pumped up. 27-10.
A statement victory at Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh on the road. Jets have always struggled in Pittsburgh. Hopefully that stops the Jets go out to victory. Gary, appreciate the call.
Hey, I'll speak to you afterwards on the post game on the way home.
Sounds good.
Beautiful. Thank you, Gary. Enjoy.
All right, guys. Take care.
Good stuff. Gary on the way, making the trek. There's a lot of fans. I saw Fireman Ed. I saw a video of him driving out to the game. There's gonna be a big group, it feels like, this week.
Matt, before we keep it going with the calls, the Fireman Ed. Speaking of Fireman Ed, I don't know. Did you see the trending Instagram video from the official Fireman Ed account?
Yeah, I did. He feels like he's getting phased out a little bit. Feel for our guy Fireman Ed. He's always been very nice to me. So I hope that's not the case. I hope Fireman Ed is here to stay.
I wanted to get your thoughts on that, Matt, because there have been, mixed opinions among the Jets. Not only the Jets beat, Jets Twitter, Jets everywhere. So Fireman Eddie claims he's getting phased out. Him, Scott, and Jetman claiming they're not getting on the big board anymore, and there is no more home field advantage. Hopefully that changes next Sunday against the New England Patriots. Actually, that's an away game,
No, that's
actually,
an
Matt.
away game. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
away game.
are on the
Okay,
road.
so excuse me, Halloween, Thursday night football against the Texans. The Jets will need as much, home turf advantage as they can possibly get. But keep it going with your calls. We have Anthony from Harlem joining the show. Anthony, how you doing?
What's up, fellas?
How are you
Not
feeling? How's the vibes for this one?
Well, I'm at work tonight, so hopefully have a quiet night and I get to watch some of this game. I am everything you guys talked about. Connor, you're amazing, by the way, buddy. You got to go to Kinetic School Broadcast. I want to see you
Thank you so much.
I want to see you on CBS sitting next to some washed football player in a couple of years.
There we go.
Thank you so much.
Again, everything you guys are talking about, Reddick, Ante, none of it matters if they don't win tonight. This is as must-win a game as I can remember in years. So you asked the question. You said, why would Mike Tomlin start Russell? I think he knows that if he just runs the ball, plays it close to the vest, I think he's worried about Justin Fields losing the game. And if I were the Jets tonight, I would walk 9 guys up in the box. I would tell Sauce Gardner, you have to take away George Pickens. And I would say, Russell Wilson, you got to throw the ball to beat us tonight. You're not running it down our throat like the last 2 teams we played. And, that's it. I mean, you can't let them run the ball tonight. You can't let them do it. So that's my hope.
I like that.
Game.
I think that's going to be a key because, as you mentioned, they've really struggled in the run game this year, stopping it. And it's not like Russell Wilson at this point in his career. Like, he's not really pushing the ball deep down the field. He's going to take the short to intermediate, the check downs, and you could live with that, but you can't live with giving up, 5+ yards to carry on the ground. You're going to get, the defense is going to get worn out. It's not a recipe for success. So I'm with you. I like that idea of putting 9 in the box.
Anthony, I really like that idea. The problem is the Jets have tried to do that over the course of the season, and it's unfortunately not worked. They possess one of the highest stacked box rates in the league. Still, it hasn't worked. But the Steelers wide receiver room, the wide receivers, what they present. Other than Pickens, I'm not really scared. So I do like the idea, kind of having Sauce or DJ Reed. If Reed can clean up those penalties, God, he has the potential to be one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. Trust me. How talented he is in pass coverage. If he could just clean up these PI penalties. So, either put Sauce or DJ out there and just stack the box. I like it. And, Reed, why the people think it's a bad move to start Russ over Justin Fields. I think you mentioned Justin Fields possibly losing the game for them. I think of it as they name Russ the starter. He has more experience, and he's smarter with the ball. We've seen Fields. He's tried to make these gadget plays over his career, running around, 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage, gets sacked for a 15-yard loss, or doing the same thing, spinning around, zigzagging, throws the ball, interception, pick 6. So I think they just trust Wilson. I think he's more composed in the pocket than Fields is, and I agree with your game plan there. Appreciate the call.
There we go. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Sorry,
I would say the first team to 17 points is going to win tonight. That's kind of the game I think it's going to be like. I hope it's the Jets. So let's say Jets 17-13. I'm more confident about the Jets than the Mets. That's what I'll say.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right,
fair enough. Love it. Good stuff, Anthony.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Appreciate the call. Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So we got another caller here. I think we do.
We'll go back to the lines in a second. I just want to pull up this members chat from Jason Edwards, and we'll get back into the calls. He says, how about a nice Jets victory? 30-17. 3 losses by 10 points is brutal. And then, by the way, Jets, Liberty, Mets. Let's go. Yes, we can't forget the Liberty. They're playing in the championship round, I believe. I'm not a big basketball guy, NBA or WNBA, so I don't really have a dog in the fight. But any thoughts there?
Yeah, I know it's Liberty versus Lynx tonight. I will say that I know names in the WNBA. I don't know, I can't tell you about the players, but I know about the Liberty. They have Sabrina Ionescu, they have Brianna Stewart, Courtney Vandersloot, Jean Paul Jones. That's what I can tell you about the Liberty there, Matt. And I know they are playing the Lynx at the finals, but it's kind of, I don't know how the ratings are going to be, because WNBA ratings they've always struggled, and now they put it in the middle of a Sunday night game in the Mets.
Yep. It's a lot.
Yep.
It's going to be a lot today. So Jason,
Absolutely.
thank you for the chat. I would love a 30-17 Jets win. That sounds awesome, actually.
Yeah, it sounds like, kind of go back to the bigger picture there in New York sports. That sounds like a parlay that I think a lot of people might be running, the Liberty, Mets, Jets. But, a victory, I would love, make a statement, I think is the message tonight. And I agree with your comment earlier, Matt, that just sneak past, get a win, it doesn't matter. I agree with that. But boy, would a statement victory just feel incredible.
It would feel nice. That's
Yep.
for sure.
Absolutely. Should we go back to the calls?
Yeah, let's get our next caller up on the line.
Let's go to Ted, who we have joining the show, NY Jets, Florida. Ted, how you doing?
Connor, Matt, how's it going this evening?
Doing
well.
good. Doing good. What's your vibe for tonight? How are you feeling?
My vibe for tonight, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. And I think we're going to have to – I do, because we're going to have to score a lot of points to basically, I wouldn't say hide our defense, but to compensate for the injuries and our weaknesses in the defensive line. Okay? I would come out and I would expect Rodgers to throw 40 or 50 times in this game and get in the shotgun, mix in a few runs, and that's how you kind of slow TJ Watt down. Let's see what they can stop. Let's see how they can stop us. You just traded for Devontae. Okay? So that's my initial first thought. That's what I got. Then my second thought is, if somehow we look impressive, I have my fantasies about trying to see if Myles Garrett is available for the Browns, but one step at a time right now, because him and Quinnen would be ridiculous. But there's probably a lot of teams eyeing him up already that are contenders. I'll tell you one thing
too. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I think
okay.
I do think there's going to be a lot of teams calling in on, guys on the Browns or, Jacksonville. I know they won today, but, these teams are falling out of it to see if they can pry someone away. Garrett would be a lot of fun. I don't know if I see that one happening. I do agree. You mentioned TJ Watt, and I think that's a big player that we have to keep an eye on because he's wrecked so many games in his career, strip sack artist. He can get after the quarterback like nobody else. And the last 3 or 4 games, Rodgers got hit a ton. So the Jets desperately need a bounce back day from the offensive line tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with what you're saying. Going back to the edge rushers, you mentioned Myles Garrett and Marcus Crosby's a name that's floating around. I don't think the Jets are going to go after those guys, especially. I don't know if you were inferring to the Jets there, but just overall, if you look at them, I think the Lions would probably be the top 2 destination, the top destination for what. I think the Lions will get one of those 2 guys now with the Hutchinson injury. But yeah, I agree with what you said there about the offensive line needs to be really stout blocking overall. I think if the Jets want to win tonight.
Let me say this: I honestly don't think the Lions need them. Quite honestly, the way they play. They're a pretty competent team. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say they don't need him, but it would be a luxury to have him. But he is a hell of a player. But I would be one thing I can say about us, which is the most important thing right now, is Tyron Smith. I'd give him a series or 2, and if he's not doing it, I would put the rookie in. And
they're not going to do that.
We can't.
I like the thought, and I agree with what you're saying. They're just not going to do it. It's not going to happen.
Well, it's basically a playoff game for us. So, my opinion, it could happen. But that's just
every option has to be on the table, Ted. I agree. If Tyron Smith is playing that poorly, like you said, it's basically a playoff game. I think we'll have a better idea how accountable Jeff Ulbrich wants to hold his guys, depending on the leash that some of the veterans get who are struggling.
Yep.
Hey, perhaps we get a turnover. Is that even possible? A strip sack or any of those things possible? Do you know I see so many teams punch the ball out of a running back's hand. That's the technique that a lot of teams employ, but somehow we don't do it. I would rather see us try that more because we keep missing tackles anyway. I'd rather just see him punch the ball out, and we just need some turnovers. We need to have a complete game. And like I said, I don't see a low scoring game in this game. We can't hold our defense. This is suspect, especially if DK can't play. And in order to protect Rodgers, I think you got to put him in the shotgun a lot.
Yeah,
that's my thought.
Yeah, you mentioned DJ Reed there. He's someone, like I said, I think he has the potential to be one of the best players in the league. But it's not going to be. I will say it's not going to be great for the Jets secondary that they're going to be without him. But I do think Sauce. I think this is an opportunity for Sauce to turn around, which I think has been a really poor start to his season.
Who's Micah Fitzpatrick going to cover tonight? You tell me. Because tell you one thing, there's going to be a lot of open receivers tonight.
I think they'll go after Devontae. I think they're going to go after Devontae.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe they use him over the top with helping out, either double teaming with Devontae. I don't see them kind of just sticking him on a tight end. Like a lot of times you see the safety be like, oh, they're just going to take out the tight end here. But I think with the addition of Devontae, I think they're gonna shadow that side of the field, whatever side he's lining up on with Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I agree.
Garrett Wilson's gonna feast. He's gonna feast.
I hope so.
Mike Williams. I'm expecting a solid game out of Mike Williams tonight. Ulbrich said they have a game plan to get him involved, and this is a game I think he's kind of playing for his life in New York. If you really think about it, who knows? Maybe he goes out and if the Jets are thinking about trade him, goes out, gets a nice game, maybe gets in the end zone. His trade value maybe goes from a conditional 5th to a conditional 4th. So you gotta. I expect a big game out of Mike Will.
Hey, one thing about Mike Williams. Sit him on the bench in the fourth quarter. Okay, play him for 3 quarters, and in the fourth quarter, but crunch time, put his ass on the bench. You guys have a good one.
You could do the last 5 minutes. We don't need him the whole fourth quarter. Last 5 minutes, just put him down.
Thank you, Ted.
All right, go with that. You guys enjoy the game. Hopefully, let's get some turnovers. Let's get something happening here. See you guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
appreciate
Ted.
it.
Let's go out to our guy. He wasn't number 1 on the line today.
Yep.
Doug
but he's
is
here.
late.
He's here. That's all.
Doug,
that's all.
Fresh cut, Doug.
Thank you. I heavily debated calling because every time I've called in, it hasn't been so great the past few weeks. So I haven't debated not calling in, and especially since I'm not going to call in next week whenever we win, I'll never call in a pregame again because I got to keep it going on. I don't mean to poo-poo over Ted. If Aaron Rodgers throws the ball 40 to 50 times, I think that's a disaster waiting to happen. Not saying that he can't. But I don't want Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball 40 to 50 times. That's not the way the modern NFL is successful. They need to have a good balance of the run game. And I don't know where he's seeing all these points. I don't mean, again, I don't want to be rude because a caller and a lot of people don't call it. But I don't know what offense he watched the Steelers to expect this to be a high-scoring game, especially with Russell Wilson. I don't know what he's expecting.
Unless they run the crap out of the ball and the Jets can't stop it. That's the only.
I think they're gonna utilize the backs in the receiving game more than people expect.
If I'm the Jets, my defensive plan tonight is stack the box and say, Russell Wilson, beat us with your arm.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
And they'll bring in Justin Fields for selling packages and shit. Sorry for the language, Connor.
All good.
You shouldn't be hearing those words. I apologize. I know they're gonna have packages and whatnot for Justin Fields, but just say we're not going to let you run all over. Stack the box. If Russell Wilson beats us with some throws, I can live with that. It's like I just don't want to get run all over. Like yes, you got to do quick. And then I agree with how you got to do quick passes, but throwing the ball 40 to 50 times is not a recipe for success in the modern NFL.
I did say that. I did say that after the Jets Week 5 loss, where Aaron Rodgers threw the ball 54 times. It's not sustainable to have a 40-year-old who's already been banged up this season throw the ball 40 to 50 times a game.
I know they're completely different caliber of quarterbacks, but like the Chiefs, you don't see Mahomes throwing the ball 40, 50 times. Even Josh Allen, you don't see him throw you want quarterbacks to be in like the 25 to 35 range in the modern day NFL for throwing times. In college, it's a different story. I don't care crap in college, but NFL, You don't want a quarterback throwing 50 times. You just can't do all the dropbacks. I think he's looking a little bit mobile, so I don't think he needs to be in shotgun. Use Breece Hall, use Garrett Wilson, get Devontae Adams going. I think we can win this game, but if we don't, this is the season. You win, the season continues. You lose, it's hard to believe that you're going to get anywhere from this season. So find a way to win tonight. I don't care if it's 2-0. Just find a way to win tonight.
Safety. Jets come out with a safety.
That'll be one of the crazy. If it was 2-0, I don't care how you win. I don't care how you do it. Just win.
Has to be the mentality.
There's no style points in the NFL. All that matters is winning. Hey guys, also, don't you guys wish you were Yankee fans right now? You don't have to deal with the stress of like a game 6 or something like that right now and being down.
Yeah, it was you guys had it last week. I get it's a bigger game, but
the Yankees had no stress in the playoffs. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's been a relatively easy road for the Yankees through the playoffs so far, but I got to give them credit. They're in the World Series, so congrats to you and your Yankees.
People said, they got the easy road. The Astros and the Orioles lost to some of these same teams, so and they had the opportunity. So, and anything can happen in playoff baseball.
I thought you guys were going to play the O's. I seriously did. I thought you guys were going to play the Orioles.
They sucked. They choked. They were awful in September. I love the Yankees. It's awesome that they're in the World Series. I would give all this up for the Jets Super Bowl in a heartbeat. Like, not even.
Matt, would you for the Mets?
For give the Mets lose tonight for the Jets to win a Super Bowl, or just win this game? What's the question?
I'm saying so. The Yankees are in the World Series right now. I'm saying I'd go the World Series. Like if that meant the Jets won the Super Bowl.
Okay. Well, yeah, I want to see one of my teams. I want to see one of my teams win. I saw in the chat earlier is not exactly what you were asking, but I had someone ask if only one team could win this game. When I pick the Mets or the Jets, I think I have to go with the Mets, right? Like they are keeping their.
Someone asked me that. One of my callers on my show asked me that during the Jets Week 5 game. It was the last game of the wild card round, and the Jets beat the Vikings. I said the Mets at the time.
I mean, what's it called? Yankees and Jets played Monday night last week. I had the Jets on my main TV and the Yankees on my side TV. The Jets are my number one by far. And I figure I would hope that's the same for you, Matt. Like if you wanted the Jets YouTube thing, although I could be wrong.
I would say in order 2 and 3 flip flop, but I would say Jets, Islanders, Mets in that order for me. But Islanders and Mets can flip flop.
But it's also different because like as a Yankee fan, like I remember 09, so it's like I remember World Series. It's like the Mets.
The Mets haven't won since '86, and they've only won twice. So
I'm aware. But like this one I can appreciate more as an adult. But I would give it all up. I would give it all up for a Jets Super Bowl.
I'd rather have the Jets win it. I'd rather have the Jets win a Super Bowl than the Mets go 162-0 and win the World Series. That's just me.
No team will ever go 160.
Well, yeah, obviously it was a hyperbole, but yeah, you get where I'm leaning towards.
Wow, using the big boy words here tonight. Let's not use the big boy words.
He's got his PSAT to study for. He knows.
He's not even close to high school yet. Are you? I don't know.
I'm in eighth grade.
Oh, so he's a year out. That was over. That's almost 10 years ago for me. I'm too old now. Matt, you're older than me.
I don't even want to say. I was in 8th grade in 2008, 2009. The Favre year was my 8th grade year.
Oh God. Oh, you were so 8th and 9th grade. You were watching AFC Championship games.
I think I was in 2008, 2009. I was in like 5th grade, 6th grade.
Okay, you're making me feel old, both you guys.
I appreciate the call.
Yeah, I hope the Jets win again. I don't care if it's 2-0 or 60-58. Although that would be crazy if it was crazy if it was 60-50.
Put up 50, please.
Yep. 50 bomb like the Bucks.
Like I said, there's no style points in football. Just find a way to win the game. I don't care how you do it. Do it. And again, like I said, make Russell Wilson beat you. He's not as mobile as he once was anymore. He doesn't scare you. You saw what we did against him when he played for Denver last year. Make Russell Wilson beat you.
Yep.
It's as simple as easier said. It could be easier said than done. But like I said, stack the box. Don't let them beat you in the run and say, "Hey, Russ, go beat us," which I don't think he can do.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to ask if they put out the actives inactives yet.
Yeah, it just said DJ Reed's inactive. I got that from Samini. Let me see. The Jets. Okay, the list is out. I wasn't
expecting him to play, and also like who in the Steelers?
Totally Ben. Oh, actually, no, I'm not surprised because of the Adams deal.
Who in the Steelers, like, besides what's his face? Pickens, like wide receivers, like worries you.
Roman Wilson's questionable, but after Pickens, no one catches my eye.
Like as a threat, who worries you besides Pickens? Like
in the
Nobody.
receiving game,
Pat
it's
Fryermuth probably.
that's what I was gonna say. It's the tight end.
And then you can have safeties cover him and you be fine. Like
Well, the Jets have never been able to cover tight ends. No matter who they like. If they put Quincy Williams, Jamie Sherwood, C.J. Mosley, Tony Adams, Chuck Clark's obviously on injured reserve, so they can't do that. You know, I think the worst case scenario though, Doug, is you have Ashton Davis lining up against.
Well, I think Oliver will probably end up starting tonight, is my guess. But
yeah, I agree with that.
He's such an underrated player. My God, he was not talked about whatsoever. He was one of the most underrated offseason moves. No one talked about him through training camp or the preseason, and now Jeff Ulbrich described him earlier this week during his media availability as a Swiss Army knife, and he's been nothing short of that for the team.
I know he was bad Monday, but folks who hadn't played in a while, I think he'll be better in this game. You know, get more footing.
I hope so.
Yeah,
that's all we can do. But like I said, besides Pickens, no one really scares you. Pickens even scare you that much? It's like he's just really a deep ball threat. He has a lot of drops, a lot of bad things happen. So like, Pickens is like the only legitimate like person who could
even look at put focus on.
Like Calvin Austin just fast. It's like okay.
Yeah. But then I have a concern. Maybe there's some sort of mismatch where Quincy Williams is supposed to pick someone up like that, and then he just blows his coverage. I think my biggest nightmare is like Quincy Williams, who just got absolutely embarrassed in the pass, in pass coverage last game.
He's a lot better in pass coverage now than he used to be, though. So is the thing.
Last game was not pretty, Doug. I will say that.
Hey, people can have bad games. It happens.
My worst nightmare, though, is you have someone.
You expect perfectionism. That's not okay to expect perfectionism in every game. No.
Well, I'm not expecting perfectionism per se. I mean, he absolutely got bullied on like round after round. My worst nightmare is him protecting someone like Jalen and trying to cover someone like Jalen Warren, who's such an elusive receiving threat out of the backfield. I think that's one of my worst nightmares. I think just containing the receiving game, but I agree, forcing Russ to throw the ball is such a key, but you have to contain that as well.
We shall see what happens. It will all unfold on the field in a little over an hour. And hopefully, please, hopefully it's the Jets. I really can't handle another Jets loss, especially after waiting all day. And then I'm going to go to bed angry. And they say it's not good to go to bed angry. We don't like that. Like, especially after, like last night, I went to bed on such a high. Yankees won. It was a good night. Vibes were immaculate. You wake up this morning, see the Hassan Reddick news. Vibes are even more immaculate. And then the Jets could just crap on it all if they lose, which I really hope they don't, especially because like I said, I'm going to the game next week. I don't want it to be like, well, yeah, we'll beat the Patriots, but like what for,
No, it's got to mean something. It's got to be to get them back to 500.
500, and then like you got to go 4-1 in this next next 5-game stretch. Or if we're 6-5 or 5-6 at the bye, you're in a good spot.
Yep,
like
I agree.
To be 6-5, but 5-6, and the schedule, the Dolphins. Like who knows what Tua's going to look like when he comes back? It makes me so happy that the Dolphins get to experience Tim Boyle. I'm so happy for their fans. They're all suck, and I'm happy to enjoy Tim Boyle quarterbacking their team.
Hate to see it.
Did you see the 4th and 2 today?
Yeah, when
he just threw the ball away.
He had no idea what down it was. Not a shot.
Honestly, I know it's you guys. We aren't a college show, but last week I thought that wasn't as bad as what Will Howard did with Ohio State last week.
Oh God, yeah, that was
brutal.
That was disgusting.
Yeah, my actual prediction, I think it's gonna be like in that 23-17, 23-20 range Jets.
So like sneaking, get a victory, but it's sneaking.
I would be shocked if the Jets covered the spread. Is what I'm saying.
I think they're 1.5 or 2. 2.5.
It's anywhere from 2.5 to 1.5. I don't know last time I checked.
I think it's 1.5, and I remember they were expected to lose before they traded for Adams. I think they were 1.5 under. I think it was like a 3-point swing or something crazy like that.
They were like +1 going into it before Davante Adams. I think a big part of it is the Russell Wilson news also happened, and that added another. It was because once we did the Davante trade, we went to -1.5, and then when they had like the Russell Wilson news came out, we jumped to -2.5.
Yeah.
So that shows you what Vegas thinks about Russell.
And the way that news came out was in such an ugly fashion. And I don't know if you saw that, Matt and Doug, but the way where Mike Tomlin said, Yeah, there's a decision made. We're just not, spoiling it, and then George Pickens goes out and says it the next day during his media availability.
What an idiot!
Yeah,
What
exactly.
an idiot! But you guys enjoy the game.
Thank you,
Connor,
Doug.
is it going to be going past your bedtime? I don't know what your bedtime is. These late night games got to be killer for you, right?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the 1:00 slot next week. I do like the primetime games, but there is I like the primetime games, but it gets to a point where it's like I like the standard Sunday 1:00 festivities.
What time do you got to be up for school tomorrow?
6:30.
Yuck!
Yep. Not gonna be fun, but you got to do it for the Jets.
Well,
It would be even worse if the Jets lose. So
you should. Oh no, fake sick. If they lose, you should fake sick or something in the morning. Pull that. You caught a bad cough. Oh no, mom, dad, I woke up with a terrible cold. I can't go into school today. Oh, I feel terrible.
I might have used that in the future.
Do the milk in the toilet trick.
Yeah.
I threw up.
I had stomach problems. I couldn't sleep at all. I was up all night. I just don't think I'll be able to go into school today.
Maybe it would be even worse if the Jets lose, and then I'm going to bed at midnight. So
quick life tip: when you get into high school and teacher said to you, they won't let you get away with this in college. That's not true. They let you
lie. That is the biggest lie.
You can. So when I say college professors do not care. They will let you get away with anything.
Wow, thank you. That's interesting. That's an interesting note.
What they care about is that you don't plagiarize. That's literally it.
Spot on analysis.
Wow.
That's your future advice, Connor.
Doug, the life coach.
High school matters.
The life coach.
Oh no, everything up to junior year matters. Senior year is a joke. Just pass your classes. Pass your classes. Well, that's it. Because after you get accepted into college and choose, they don't.
It's so much fun. It's just a fun year. That's it.
You can a joke. So everything up to junior year. A lot of schools now, though, I know we're getting off tangent. Sorry, are test optional. So SATs, ACTs they don't even matter as much anymore. So
wow, Doug, the life coach. That's we got to make your new title.
That's my one life advice. When they say you won't get away with it in college, that's total BS. You will absolutely get away with it in college.
Wow, so. I do appreciate the advice, both Matt and Doug.
Have a good night, and let's hope the Jets win. And have a good day at school tomorrow, Connor.
You too, Doug.
I'm not going to school tomorrow.
All right, that's enough of Doug on here. Let's get him out of here.
Appreciate it, everyone. Make sure you smash that like button. You are subscribed to both channels. Matt's, of course, at Matt O'Leary NY, at NY Flight Jets Talk. Appreciate the support. Keep it going with your calls. We have our guy Stevie joining the show here. Stevie, what's going on?
Hey, yo. All right. Let's get back on track from the school. So
I'm assuming you're in school too.
Am I in school?
How old are you?
I'm 14 in 9th grade.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, so I'm not really worried about like the receivers and the throw game, but DJ Reed and Michael Carter being out is honestly like horrible. Not too horrible because we got room in our cornerbacks. And then also Russell Wilson, first game back. He didn't really have like the good warm-up game yet, Yeah. And I'm just worried about the run game and like how we're going to play during that because they got good running backs and Quincy Williams cannot guard for crap.
The Jets have struggled with those backs out of the back. The running backs and tight ends feel like that's always the Achilles heel for the Jets in the passing attack, covering those guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I definitely think that we don't murder Russell Wilson, and I'm hoping that we keep him alive for this game because I don't want Justin Fields to get anywhere near this game because a dual threat quarterback is not good, especially with the run games that Justin Fields does. And I just want Russell Wilson to stay in the game, and hopefully he plays bad.
Yeah, Tomlin did say he might do something where it's like a split rep, so maybe I think that's a nightmare for us, Matt, where maybe they trot Russ out for the first half, he looks like crap, and then Fields goes out and just, dominates.
Well, I know that they have Tomlin said they're going to have packages for Justin Fields, and I'm worried what that's going to look like.
It might be like a Taysom Hill thing. Obviously, Justin Fields is not like a multi-position player, but they put him in the red zone maybe and just run the QB blast right up the middle or something like that out of the Madden playbook.
Yeah, and on offense, I feel like Devontae Adams is going to click, but they're just going to like full on commit to Davante Adams. Like, and then Garrett Wilson will just be like more open because they've just been hogging Garrett Wilson like for the past 5 games. And then I feel like Garrett Wilson is going to get open. And how do you think that Breece Hall's going to play this game?
Matt, what do you got there?
Yeah, I was gonna say last week he played very strong, had 169 all-purpose yards, so was very involved on the ground and through the air. I'm hoping that was more of a product of the Todd Downing play calling change than it was just the Bills being poor against the run. Steelers is a really tough run defense and tough defense in general, but against the run, they're particularly pretty stout. But I'm still relatively hopeful that he's going to have a good game. Now, is it going to be 170 yards again? Probably not, but I think he could have a productive day. Maybe he's closer to 100 all-purpose yards.
Sorry, what happened there? Cut out, actually.
I think we lost our guy, Stevie.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, it was just weird. It kind of I heard an echo for some reason. Then it backed out, but now he's back. Stevie.
Oh, my bad. All right. So what were you saying again?
Yeah, I was saying that I think for Breece Hall, it's going to be tough for him to have a repeat performance, but I still think he could be productive. Maybe closer to 100 all-purpose yards in this game, like 65 to 70 on the ground, and then like 30 to 40 through the air, something like that.
Yeah, just to get just to do his job, like get the first downs here and there, and then just like help the receiving game.
Yeah, I will say one of my keys to success for the past few weeks have been utilized both Breece and Braylon in an effective manner. But, to be completely fair, the last 2 weeks, the Jets have given Braylon Allen his fair share of touches. And I know this is not what fans want to hear, but he hasn't lived up to expectations the past 3 weeks when the ball has come his way. So I think, leaning more towards Breece Hall. And, Matt, I will say you mentioned the product of the Todd, possibly being, a product of Todd Downing calling the plays. I think a lot of it had to do with the Bills' weak run defense. They were without Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, which already weakens their, very weak unit. And, Breece Hall took advantage of that, which I think is what you need to do. You got to hope that translates, though.
Yeah, and they got TJ Watt, so hopefully we could defend that. And obviously he's a master of strip sacks. And also, how do you think Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers are going to click this game? Or do you think it'll take a few?
Yeah, I think it happens immediately. It's like riding a bike. You don't forget those two guys have been on the same page for a long time. I know it's a new team. The system's exactly the same. Rodgers said that Davante on Monday night, whenever he got it, or Tuesday, I guess it was Tuesday by the time he got here because they played on Monday. That he had like 95% of the hand signals down already. It's that's the least of my concerns for this game is a slow start for Davante Adams and Rodgers. I think they're going to look like they have been in years gone by.
And to piggyback on what you said there, Matt, I understand Hackett's not calling plays anymore, but he's the offensive coordinator. He's still heavily involved in game planning every week. There's still some of that Nathaniel Hackett offense implemented in Todd Downing's play calling. So it's not like he's learning a completely different offense. So to kind of add to that, I don't think there'll be any struggles tonight.
Yeah, and one more thing, what is the receiver room like? Davante Adams, wide receiver 1, Garrett Wilson, wide receiver 2, then Allen Lazard 3.
Yeah,
I'd say that, Matt. Yeah.
Yeah, and my score prediction, I said 23-20 last week, but then it flipped around for the Bills getting 23. I'm going to say, 10-17. Jets won by 1 touchdown.
17-10, Jets come out on top. I like it. I'm in like that, Matt. I don't know where you're leaning, but I'm leaning in that 24-20 type range in favor of the Jets.
Yeah, I think I had it 17-13 in my predictions. I think it's going to be low scoring. I think the winning team has a chance to get to 20 points, but I would be very surprised if both teams are over 20 tonight.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Stevie.
Stevie, appreciate the call.
Yeah, good stuff there as always.
Absolutely. We're about an hour and around 9 minutes away from kickoff here over in Pittsburgh. We'll keep it going here for a little while more. I saw someone's comment and then it disappeared. Here it is. Ron Reagan wants to know, what are our keys to the game, Matt? What is a key to success for the Jets tonight?
They cannot let TJ Watt ruin this game. And that's so much easier said than done because he is one of the best edge rushers in football. But you cannot afford to just let him do his thing, whether it's putting another tight end on that side, maybe you have to go jumbo. Maybe you have to put another offensive lineman out there on the right side where he ends up lining up. Like, you just can't let that happen. A couple years ago against the Browns, they did that with Myles Garrett in that Joe Flacco game. And I think that contained him a little bit. He was still good, which you're not going to fully contain TJ Watt. He's too good for that. But you just can't let him have one of those, 3-sack games with a forced fumble like that. That's how it becomes a complete game changer.
Mine is I've preached it throughout. I've preached it all week, and I've preached it especially today for those listening. Like I said, everyone, make sure you smash that like button. You are subscribed to the channels at Matt O'Leary NY at NY Flight Jets Talk. But the key for me is stopping both Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, especially in the receiving game. Najee Harris, he's kind of, I view him as like a cheaper version of Braylon Allen, if you really think about it. He brings that power when he's able, when he's on, Matt, he's on. When he's off, he's dormant. So I think the biggest thing is really trying to, for the Steelers, is to spring him free. And if they spring Najee Harris free, I think the Jets' run defense is going to have a really hard time stopping the Steelers. As for Jaylen Warren, you get that speed, elusiveness, especially in the receiving game. So I think you got to stop those two guys tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they're going to be heavily involved. I would be surprised if, it's Russell Wilson's first game. He's probably going to throw the ball, like 25 times, maybe somewhere in that range. I don't see him getting up over like 35, 40 throws in this game. So it's going to be a heavy ground attack.
Yeah, I don't expect Russell Wilson to really just air the ball out, but what's been preached, especially on the show, is force them to beat you in the air.
That's got to be the game plan. I know we said that a lot today, but it's the truth. They have to force Russell Wilson to beat them over the top, and I don't think they have the talent. But the issue there is the Steelers are really well coached and they find ways to win ugly. And most of their wins this year have been just that. So we can't count them out of this game. While the Jets have more talent, they're the more desperate team. You know that they're going to be well coached and have a good game plan. So it's not going to be easy tonight in my eyes.
Yeah, I expect an ugly Jets win. Not necessarily ugly. I expected ugly was a bad word choice. Close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think any team's really going to, stand out and have this huge, blowout victory. I think it'll be a close game. I do see the Jets, sneaking out on top. Kind of transition to the linebacker room, Matt. CJ Mosley returned last week from a toe injury at a 3-game absence due to a toe injury. Played only 9 snaps, spoke to the media this week, said he expects, first he praised Jamie Sherwood for the job he's done stepping into his role. He also said he expects to, slowly ease himself back into the role he had as captain on this defense and, basically being an every down linebacker. What do you expect out of Mosley tonight after playing only 9 snaps last week?
It's got to be more than 9. I don't think it's going to – I don't know if he ever returns to being the guy who plays 100% of defensive snaps like he did for most of his Jets career, but I think he could still be a useful player against the run. He's not good in coverage anymore. That was never really his strength anyway. But again, why can't he be someone who comes in on first and second downs and help you in the rushing attack? That's my thought on it, at least.
Yeah, staying with the topic of defense, Michael Carter, DJ Reed, they're both out tonight. We spoke about Reed a little. Carter injured himself during warmups. He was out last week. He injured himself during warmups, the Vikings game. He only played 1 snap that game. Didn't see him last week. He had kind of that lingering ankle injury during training camp. They signed him to this huge extension this offseason. I think this is an injury, Matt, that could possibly linger for the remainder of the season. If you think big picture, were you a fan of that deal, and how do you expect this injury to really affect him in the long-term effect?
Yeah, I was a fan of that deal because I think he's someone who is one of the best slot corners in the NFL. And, unfortunately with the ankle, that was That was something that bothered him throughout training camp. In the first few weeks of the regular season, Robert Saleh said, like, yeah, this is something he's going to have to deal with every week, which isn't ideal for a slot corner or really any corner, to be honest with you, defensive back. But I like it. I thought it was fair market value. Slot corners don't get paid nearly as high as outside corners. And, I thought it was a fair deal for both sides. That was, a pretty lucrative deal, about as lucrative as you can get for a slot. And for the Jets, they lock up a homegrown, developed day 3 pick who turned into a good starter. So I like the move, even if it hasn't necessarily panned out this year because of injuries. I think he's still an important piece to this team.
DJ Reed, he's also out tonight. Chances are basically lingering as to if he will, be back in the New York Jets uniform next season. Do you view that as a lost cause?
I think so. And I love DJ Reed. I think he's, he's a very much so an unsung hero of this defense. Sauce Gardner gets a lot of love, and, deservedly so, even with the slow start this year. But Reed has been about as solid of a running mate as you could possibly ask for. And when he was healthy this year, before, this last game, he was playing like a top 5 corner in the NFL. Someone's going to pay him big money to be a number 1 corner somewhere. And if we're talking, like, I think he's getting at least $18 million a year AAV on the open market. Wow. And the Jets are just not going to be able to afford that, I don't think. So that's going to likely, in my opinion at least, be an unfortunate loss to this defense.
You mentioned unfortunate loss, and then you said you like the move. Michael Carter, homegrown talent. If you could, go back in time, both of them are still free agents. Would you still have chosen Carter?
Yeah, I think so. Just because Reed was always going to be more expensive, and he's rapidly approaching 30, and that position doesn't usually age as well. And Carter is a few years younger than DJ Reed. So that's the choice I would have made as well. Again, it's a difficult decision, but sometimes with those guys, if he's going to be a 29-year-old corner next year, it's risky to sign up for 3 or 4 more years at big money at that point. So I'm okay that they decided to go with Michael Carter instead.
Matt, last week we did a bit of a hot take segment, so to speak. Both of our takes were wrong. Yours was way closer than mine. You said Tyler Conklin gets in the end zone for the first time since 2022. We got close. I was rooting for you there, Matt. The pass got deflected at the line of scrimmage, so it was intended for him. And if someone didn't get a hand on it, I'm telling you, that would have been a touchdown. My hot take was far off. I went really hot with that one. I said Irv Charles was going to force a fumble in punt coverage. Now, Matt, what is your hot take for tonight?
Hot take for tonight. Jets get a defensive score. I don't know if it's going to be a scoop and score fumble recovery or a pick six or something, but the Jets get on the board with their defense in some way. Russell gives them a mistake, either a strip sack or a pick six.
I like it. This is going to be tough. I might have to. I was going to say Davante Adams touchdown, but that's not a hot take. I mean, that's been swirling around forever. Mine, I don't know. I feel like this is going to be tough. Give me Solomon Thomas sack tonight. Gets after the quarterback. Okay. Thomas, he's pressured a lot this year because of his speed as an interior guy. He's never been able to get, officially really get him down that many times. In 6.5 sacks, 6.5 sacks last season. I'm a big fan of him. Wilson, he's not as mobile of a quarterback as Fields. If Fields was in, I would say no Solomon Thomas sack, but Wilson's in. I think Thomas is able to get in the backfield, disrupt things. Zach Frazier, the Steelers center, he's out tonight. That's a huge advantage for the Jets interior. Quinnen Williams is another name to watch. He's not really lived up to expectations. So a Solomon Thomas sack is where I'm at, Matt.
I like it. Randall's giving me a hard time. He said that sounds like a hope, not a hot take. Isn't a hot take supposed to be something that's a little hopeful, right? If I said,
I classify yours as a hot take. The way I view something, the way I generate a hot take is a bit, you have the hopeful percentage, but also the possibility of it happening. For example, a hot take is not Davante Adams scoring a touchdown tonight because everyone's talking about it. I view it as something that's kind of under the radar. No one's talking about it. That's why I went with Irv Charles forcing a fumble in punt coverage last week, and now I'm going with Solomon Thomas sack. It's kind of an underrated take, so to speak.
This is a good hot take. I think I want to toss this one up from the Reluctant Earthling. Says Zerline goes perfect tonight.
You got to hope. You gotta hope. Hopefully they put him in position. Doesn't have to kick any field goals. Only extra points tonight. But yeah, they worked out. Who they worked out? They worked out 3 kickers, Matt, this week. Riley Patterson, Cade York, both.
Yeah, and then
Matt Coughlin.
that was the one I couldn't remember.
He's never kicked in the NFL. Actually, he hasn't kicked since college in 2021, where he graduated from Michigan State. But York, I think York was the one, Matt, who missed the field goal during the onside kick Joe Flacco game, week 2 against the Browns. And he was that guy. And then Riley Patterson, he's bounced around. He was with the Lions. I think the Lions is where I remember him from, but he's been with the Giants, the Commanders, the Vikings. You think it's time to pull the plug on Greg the Leg if he misses a kick or 2 tonight?
If he has another bad game, like if he misses 1 or 2 tonight, I think it's over. When kickers lose their confidence, it's very, very hard to get that back. So I unfortunately,
and he's already missed 3 pivotal kicks. I mean, he's 8
Right.
for 12. He's 8 for 11 on the season now. All 3 came in huge moments. Those 2 huge kicks against Buffalo, and then obviously, the one that could have sealed the game against Denver. I don't know about you, Matt, but that Denver one, I was not expecting him to make the kick then during those conditions and given the length of it. But Buffalo, you expect him to put those through the posts.
Yeah, he has to, especially the short one, man. Like I get it, the conditions weren't fantastic, but you gotta find a way to.
It was tough. The Buffalo game, especially Tyler Bass's kicks, like a lot of the ones that snuck in. I think the refs were right on the call. They're right there, but on the TV angle, it looked like a lot of those like snuck out. It was really weird based on the conditions and the angle I saw on TV. I don't know about you, Matt.
Yeah, it did. I was surprised one of the extra points looked like he missed it, but they ruled it that it went through. So he was off all game, it felt like.
Well, Zerline compared to Bass last game, Zerline was at least getting it on the upright. Like he was close. There was 1 extra point, I believe it was, that Bass missed that it wasn't even like in the vicinity of the goalpost. I think it was like way far. It barely hit the netting. So, I think Zerline needs to be perfect tonight if he wants a job tomorrow morning.
I agree 1000% with you. I think this is it. This is your last opportunity, Greg. I know he was great last year, but this would now be a 7-game sample size of him not looking great. So,
and the preseason too, if you count that, he missed a bunch of kicks in the preseason. Seibert has looked great. You can't blame Joe Douglas for keeping Greg the Leg over Seibert, but I mean, I think that's something that either the management or the coaching staff needs to keep an eye on during the preseason, because it's not like it was just, kind of a 1-game thing. It's really dragged on.
It has. It's been a big issue all year, unfortunately. So it's time. He's got to get back on track.
Yeah, absolutely. Jets still need to hopefully possess the best. They have to still have the best long snapper and the best punter in football. And
Hennessy, baby.
The great Thomas Hennessy, and of course Thomas Morstead, Jets punter. So Matt, I think that'll do it for us on this pregame show. We're just about 55 minutes away from game time. Any final thoughts? Another pregame show in the books here, week 7.
I love it. They got to get back in the win column tonight. I'm gonna go Jets win 17-13 and Mets win 5-2.
Ooh, I'm gonna go. Mets game is gonna be interesting. I want to see if they bring Senga out of the bullpen tonight, Matt. I think if things go haywire, they might take Senga out of the pen. So with the Mets, I'm going to go 3-2 Mets. I think it's kind of a low-scoring affair there for the Mets. And then the Jets, I think I said 24-20. So I'm riding with 24-20. Jets come out on top. Devontae Adams touchdown. And Solomon Thomas comes away with the sack. Everyone smash that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to both of our channels at Matt O'Leary NY, at NY Flight Jetstock. That'll do it for us. Alongside Matt O'Leary, I am Connor Long, signing off. JETS, 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 Jets.